Let's open with a word of prayer. Oh, Father, how we thank you for this opportunity to recognize these families and these graduates. What a great joy it has been to raise this next generation to know you and to love you. I pray that in this ceremony, we all may remember the one that created us and put us into families. We thank you for this time in Jesus' name. Amen. Distinguished speakers, fellow members of the board, friends and families, and most of all graduates, good morning and welcome to the South Carolina Association Independent of Home Schools 29th annual graduation ceremony. It's an honor to be able to share this with you today. Please allow me to briefly thank our host, Christian Life Church, for allowing us to use a beautiful church building. Thank you to our torchbearer, Cooper Joseph Raines, son of Kevin and Katie Raines of Chapin. Cooper is an excellent student and athlete. He has played both basketball and baseball at Chapin High School while homeschooling and is a SCAIHS honor graduate. In the fall, he will attend USC Sumter and continue his dream of playing baseball at the next level. At the close of the ceremony, Cooper will take the torch again and pass it to Junior Marshal Landon Hallman of the class of 2024, who will then lead the recessional. Now, please allow me to share a little bit of information about this particular class of graduates. This class of 2023 is made up of 138 students. 67%, or two-thirds of those receiving a diploma, will attend college. This class includes one National Merit Finalist, one National Merit Commended Scholar, 9 Palmetto Fellow recipients, and over half of the students in this class are eligible for state scholarships. They have been offered over 225 scholarships for the upcoming year, and reported amount totals more than $1.5 million. It's pretty amazing. Still, as we are all aware, education for the homeschool family is not only about grades, awards, and college acceptances. This class of graduates, like so many before it, is to be commended for their personal achievements in the arts, involvement in sports, contributions to family life, and service to the community. We applaud you for it. At this time, I'd like to introduce the South Carolina Association of Independent Homeschools founder, who is also my wife. I want to tell you a little bit about her. In 1984, Zan wanted to delay our oldest son Ty's entrance into first grade for 1 year. Seemed like a pretty simple request to the school district. It's led to all kinds of problems, and eventually we decided to homeschool Ty for 1 year. Our local school board turned us down, and we ended up appealing to the State Board of Education. In that process, the state superintendent of education threatened to put Zan in jail for homeschooling. When Senator Strom Thurmond intervened on our behalf, we wondered, what about everybody else? How were they going to be approved to homeschool? This led Zan on a multi-year effort, leading a grassroots lobbying effort, culminating in the establishment of a new South Carolina law, the first South Carolina homeschool law, and the South Carolina Association of Independent Homeschools. Join me in welcoming Zan to the stage.
Well, good morning. I know as a mom who has graduated 3 homeschool students what you moms are going through, and you dads, but mainly you moms, and it's quite an amazing journey to see your kids graduate. I know you feel like you should have processed down the aisle with them. In 2018, Joe and I do a lot of speaking now, nationally and internationally, on homeschooling. And in 2018, we actually had the opportunity to speak at the Global Home Education Conference in Russia. And there was actually a homeschooling movement beginning to grow there. We spoke to 1,000 families in Moscow and 1,000 families in St. Petersburg. It really took me back to our days in 1980, 84, when it really was illegal, mostly here, to homeschool. But I want to tell you one thing that Father Dmitri said. He was a Russian Orthodox priest, very elderly, stood up and he said, "I have seen Russian culture decimated by communism." And he said, "I'm an old man, but I'm going to spend the rest of my days advocating for homeschooling, because homeschooling builds strong families. Strong families build strong churches, and strong churches build strong cultures." And he said, "I'm an old man, but this is what I intend to do with the rest of my life." So I want to thank you, parents, for not only inputting and investing into the lives of your children. By doing that, you have invested in the life of the church, in the life of the culture, in the life of our country. And we're so appreciative for what you have done as parents. And we know the sacrifice that that involves. But briefly, I want to tell you just a little bit about SCAIHS and how we got here today. As Joe said, when I started homeschooling in 1984, I was threatened with jail. It was not an idle threat. It was very scary. And we knew no one who homeschooled in the world, not in South Carolina, not anywhere. If you had told me then that there would be graduation ceremonies like this with over 100 graduates and 1,000 people in the audience, I would have never believed it. All homeschooling moms had back in the day were a hard time, and we never expected it to grow into a movement. And so those days, we spent 8 years either in court or the legislature in South Carolina trying to get good homeschooling legislation passed. And those early years were so traumatic for me that the impetus in my life has been to make homeschooling, do my part in making homeschooling legally accessible, and also to provide the support to homeschool families that I would have given my eye teeth for. And I will tell you, we have traveled the nation, and I have never seen a staff that I think comes close to the SCAIHS staff in terms of the knowledge and the support, the love of homeschooling, and the love of families that we have on our staff. It's an organization that I'm so proud to be a part of. So we began SCAIHS in 1990. After 6 years of being in court and the legislature, we got tired of banging our heads against the wall and figured we needed to do something new. So Joe and I started the South Carolina Association of Independent Homeschools. They said, the pundit said, you have 2 years before you end up in court. 3 months later, 11 of our families in Lexington County were served with truancy subpoenas. And so we spent 2 years with a lot of legal wrangling to get SCAIHS established. And finally, in 1992, the South Carolina General Assembly passed a law that named SCAIHS as an alternative to public school supervision. When you homeschooled during the public schools in those days, they wanted to require every parent to have a 4-year degree and to only use state-approved texts, which meant Christians couldn't use anything based on the Bible. So it was awful. So we started SCAIHS with 120 brave families. But I want you to understand, too, that after SCAIHS was made legal, we were the first private sector organization ever in the nation of the country to be given power by a General Assembly equal to local school boards in monitoring and approving homeschooling programs. Now, that's the way the law is written. I view it as supporting homeschooling programs. So it was really an important advancement of the legal principle of self-government. And since then, since the very early days, we have worked at building our reputation, building the reputation of homeschooling in the state. Elise Edson is here. She was our first director of the high school program. She has a granddaughter graduating today. And we met with with all of the college admissions personnel people in the state, showing them our diplomas, telling them about SCAIHS, telling them about our transcripts. And then we had something interesting happen in 1998. I had a board member call me. I remember where I was driving in Columbia. He was so mad. His brilliant daughter had been denied the Palmetto Fellows Scholarship, which we have 9 of here today, because she was homeschooled. And I said, well, Jim, he said, you got to do something about this. And I said, well, Jim, what do you want me to do? He said, well, just call the governor. Well, David Beasley was the governor, and he had been a dear friend of mine in the legislature. He was a young legislator and supportive of homeschooling while I was a young lobbyist and cutting my teeth down at the State House. So I called Governor Beasley's assistant, and I said, Betty, we really need to have homeschoolers included in this. And she said, well, how are you going to do this? And I said, please ask Governor Beasley to reconvene the Palmetto Fellows Committee, which includes provosts of colleges, legislators, people from the Commission of Higher Education. She said, Zan, that's a big ask. I said, please ask him. He did. And so we had this meeting where we had representatives from most of the colleges in the state there. We had representatives from the General Assembly and the Commission on Higher Education. And I was able to tell them at one time what homeschooling in high school is really like and how we have the same goal of keeping our best students in South Carolina. And so that day, they voted to approve homeschoolers for the Palmetto Fellows scholarship. And then 6 months later, when the Life Scholarship came up before the General Assembly, I read about it the next day in the newspaper. And I called Governor Beasley's office again. I said, Betty, I'm armed and ready to fight. She said, Zan, they wrote you in last night at midnight. Homeschoolers are included in the Life Scholarship too. That is a huge, huge thing. We just spoke at Rally Day at the Capitol in New York State, where most of their colleges will not accept a high school diploma. So it really is a great day in South Carolina for homeschooling, and it's been just a joy to be at SCAIHS. I want to thank all of our counselors, our board members, who work really around the clock to support you and help you and make sure your homeschooling experiences was not like ours, but a positive family-based experience. So we want to thank you today. Your homeschool parents and grandparents, your homeschoolers are going into a new world in terms of homeschooling. I want to take 2 minutes to tell you this. I speak with college admissions counselors now all across the country when I'm speaking, and they've told me 3 things. When homeschoolers come to their campus, they come with a intellectual vitality that they don't see in any other kids. They're not burned out from institutional learning. They said, now these are the 2 things that surprise us. They come with a greater independence in learning than any group of kids we've ever seen, which we thought they would be so dependent on their moms. And the 3rd thing is they come with leadership skills like nothing we've ever seen before. They take leadership on their campus, and it blows our mind. And so Kiplinger sent out one of their business e-letters and said, employers, are you worried about employing homeschoolers? Well, they are the most self-motivated kids you will ever see. You should hire them. And then just this year, Joe and I were at an Army Educators Tour with about 40 educators from around the country. And the military has been notorious for stiffing homeschool graduates, making them take the GED even with a diploma. All of that's beginning to change. So I asked a 2-star general who was there heading up this program one evening, what changed the military mind? And he said, well, our toughest class is EOD, it's on explosive devices. And last year with Zoom, we had a Zoom graduation. I had the opportunity to supervise this. So we recognized the top 3 graduates. I say to the top graduate, son, where did you go to high school? I want to recognize your parents. He said, oh, I was homeschooled. I want to recognize your school. He said, oh, I was homeschooled. He said, well, tell your parents congratulations. He gets to the 2nd student, and he said, where did you go to high school? He said, I was homeschooled. And congratulate your parents, he said. And then when the 3rd graduate told me he was homeschooled, I knew I needed to take a new look at these homeschool kids. So I just want to assure you as parents and grandparents that your kids have been well equipped, and they are going into a world that admires the way they've learned, admires their family background and the strength of that, and is happy to have them. So from us to you, congratulations on a job well done. Thank you.
Good morning. Our first senior address this morning will be delivered by Grace Slaughter, son of John and Elizabeth Slaughter of Columbia, South Carolina. Gray has been active in team policy and Lincoln-Douglas debate, moot court debate, competitive speech, and the Invictus Advocacy Academy Speech and Debate Club throughout high school, winning numerous awards and honors in both regional and national championship competitions. He served on the SCAIHS Student Council and as a regional representative for the NCFCA Student Advisory Council. He has been awarded the USC Dean's Scholarship and the USC Legacy Scholarship. This fall, Gray plans to attend the University of South Carolina's College of Engineering and Computing with a major in computer information systems. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Gray Slaughter.
Thank you all so much. As Ms. Correa put it, my name is Grace Slaughter. There's no two ways about that one. But as we are here at graduation, a lot of us are doing one of two things. We are either looking forward to the future for what the future holds for our graduates, or we're looking to the past, at the past 12 years of high school, or rather K through 12, and seeing what schooling at home has meant for us and the lessons that we've learned. And I believe that we are all tempted to look forward to what comes next. I am too. I'm very excited about college. But as I move into college, it's very important that before looking forward, I take a look back at what's happened through my high school experience. There are about three main lessons I've learned through the 4 years of my high school experience. Now, my initial idea for these 3 ideas was to base them all off of Taylor Swift's songs, because I think there's a lot to be learned from the greatest artist of all time. But instead, I thought that these 3 lessons should come from my sophomore, junior, and senior year. Now, all of us have lessons that we've learned that we can apply in a post-high school life, but these 3 have helped me, and I believe that if you think about them and apply them to your life where they're relevant, they may help you too. The first lesson of which was in my sophomore year of high school, and I learned a very valuable lesson about my desire for certainty and control. Now, I'm sure we've all faced the pressure of making a big decision. For some of the graduates, it's what major they'll study, maybe what job they'll take, and for all of us, it may be numerous different things. But I've faced specific pressure with choosing my major. I went back and forth for hours. I delayed my acceptance to the University of South Carolina for about a week, much to my mom's dismay, because I was so scared of making a decision that might be wrong. I wanted to have the certainty of my future and control over the outcomes. But I realized that I am not equipped to make a decision that will affect me for the rest of my life, but also that I don't need to be. I don't need to have certainty and control over my future to know when I'm making a good or a bad decision. I don't need to have certainty or control over every minute detail to trust that God has a plan for me. Ultimately, there will always be uncertainty. This doesn't mean that we should toss caution to the wind, but it does mean that we must live with certain aspects of our life out of our control. A mentor told me once that almost nobody goes into college with the same idea that they come out of college with. I believe that this is a very profound idea and applies to much more than just college decisions. Ultimately, as we grow, we change in ways that we can't predict. The second lesson that I want to share comes from my junior year. Now, my junior year was a time that was very developmental for me. And one of those key figures was a man named Mr. M. Now, Mr. M happens to be an extraordinarily smart and kind man who's very successful and very funny. So I'm not exactly sure why he took a particular interest in me, but I couldn't be more happy for it. Shout out to Mr. M. Now, Mr. M told me after a particularly disappointing debate tournament that I had. He asked me how I was feeling, and I told him the truth. I was disappointed, I was frustrated, and I was angry. And he asked me this, why? Because I had very clear goals. I wanted to win. And when I didn't meet those goals, I felt like all of my efforts had been for failure. But this wasn't true. He asked me, Gray, if your goals had been to learn something new, to connect with friends, or even to just enjoy your time, would your tournament have been unsuccessful? The answer was no. My ideas of success had been far too narrow. Had I been focused on enjoying my time, on learning something new, or connecting with the people around me, not only would I have been more successful, but my success could mean more. I had realized that I was not reaching for success because it was good for me, because it changed the course of my life, but simply to stave off disappointment from failure. I realized that when I could change what success meant to me, not only could I be more successful, but ultimately success could be more meaningful. It could affect me in a lasting way. I urge everyone here, not just the graduates, to reevaluate what your specific goals are for. What does success mean for you, and how does it help you? There's no better time to think about that than now. My third and final lesson I learned from my senior year. Now, one of my best friends, David Wayner, told me about the difference between a legacy and an impact. Now, I initially thought that there was no difference between these two things. They mean almost the same thing. They're synonyms in the dictionary. Surely there isn't any difference. But there is. A legacy is about being remembered by your friends, by your family, by anyone. The more people remember you, the greater your legacy. However, a legacy is self-serving. It doesn't benefit anybody but yourself. An impact is far more important. Creating an impact is about creating a change, using your influence to change the world around you for the better. An impact might not be immediately seen, but it is felt by others. One of the greatest examples of a man who left an impact but no legacy is by the name of Stanislav Petrov. Now, Petrov was a lieutenant colonel in the Soviet Union Air Defense Force. He was responsible for monitoring incoming missile attacks from the United States. And one day the alarm went off. A missile was incoming towards the Soviet Union. But he noticed something strange. There was only one. He had reasoned that if there were a nuclear attack incoming, it would be more than just one missile, right? So he waited. And after waiting, it was revealed that this was a false alarm in the system. His hesitancy, his refusal to initiate a counterattack in that moment is something that affects all of us today. It is widely credited with avoiding nuclear war between the Soviet Union and United States. And we all know the name of Stanislav Petrov, right? Probably not. But even though we don't know his name, all of us feel the impact that he created. It's natural for all of us to want to be remembered. And that isn't a bad thing, especially if you're remembered for doing the right things. But there is no greater legacy than leaving behind a positive impact on your friends, your family, and your communities. Now, these aren't the only takeaways I've gotten from my high school years. I'm sure that I have more, as well as all of these graduates more as well. But I believe that they can be helpful. However, I believe I should end on the note of the most important thing I can urge not only our graduates, but everybody. That as you leave this room, you decide to change for the better. This day of graduation is a very significant moment. It's a big step forward. However, none of us are any better or smarter for walking across this stage. Ultimately, the only way that we can reach our potential, that we can grow and become better people, is by making the conscious choice to see where we are now and move forward from that place. Now, I could end this speech with some thought of my own, but I'd rather end it with a thought of my close and personal friend, Taylor Swift. As she said, quote, "Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about dancing in the rain." Thank you.
Performing first for us today will be sisters Milka and Slauka Newdebussy, daughters of Godfrey and Malgorzata Newdebussy of Columbia. Slauka is a competitive swimmer who has placed high in the South Carolina State Championships and Eastern Zone Futures Championships. She has played the violin for 12 years and is an active participant in the youth orchestra. In the fall, Slauka plans to attend Gardner-Webb University, where she has been awarded a merit scholarship and a swimming scholarship. Milka is also an excellent athlete, musician, and scholar. She has played the cello and been involved in competitive swimming for 11 years. She served on the SCAIHS Student Council and as an instructor at the Institute for Cultural Communicators. She also served as a swimming instructor and music teacher for younger students. She has been awarded numerous academic scholarships. This fall, she plans to attend Clemson University with a major in computer science. Today, they will play "Seek Ye First, the Kingdom of God" by Karen Lafferty. Please join me in welcoming Milka and Slauka.
Our second student speaker today is Ella Rose Becker. Ella Rose is the daughter of Jeff and Rebecca Becker of Lexington, South Carolina. Throughout high school, she has been active in children's ministries at her church. Ella Rose is an avid writer, has written several books, and participates in an international writing forum. Ella Rose is a SCAIHS honor graduate, and in the fall, she plans to attend Anderson University, where she has been awarded the President's Scholarship and the Denmark Scholarship. Please welcome Ella Rose Becker.
SCAIHS faculty, staff, families, friends, guests, and my fellow graduates, it is such a great honor for me to be standing before you today. There were days I wasn't sure I would make it, but here I am, and here you are. All those hours doing an endless number of algebra equations, reading those endless pages of peculiar literature, and the endless moments of dread when you realized you forgot that history assignment are over, at least for the summer, wink, wink. The day we spent years planning, preparing, and dreaming for is here. We've made it through high school. Can I just say that again? We have made it through high school. We stand here proud and accomplished. When I received the invitation to give this speech, everyone in my family had a suggestion for what I should say. My mom suggested I talk about the amazingness of parents to homeschool all of their children without pulling all of their hair out. My sister thought the encouragement of siblings was an important topic. And my grandfather informed me that the influence of grandparents in a homeschool student's life is paramount. So I'd like to thank all the family members here today. We couldn't have traversed this amazing homeschool journey without our parents. Moms, thank you so much for the hours spent lesson planning and with math problems on the whiteboard. Thank you for the field trips and the spontaneous days off. Thank you for sacrificing a different life, perhaps a job the world would call successful, and instead pouring into our success. We wouldn't be here without you. And thanks to the dads for supporting us, for choosing the better paying but less fun job so that our mamas could stay home with us, for telling the annoying jokes, and for being the principals of the schools. And thank you to the grandparents and the aunts and the uncles, the cousins and the siblings for walking through this journey with us. Class of 2023, today marks a huge change in our lives. It is the day we officially make the transition from bright-eyed, or if it's the morning, bleary-eyed, school boys and girls to young men and women. We've grown up. Next semester, or perhaps even this summer, we will start new classes, new jobs, new lives. Things will never be the same as they have been for the past 18 years. For me, that's going to be somewhat hard to get used to. But I am confident in this. As we commit our lives to the Lord, nothing shall be impossible. Proverbs 16:3 says, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans." Now, I don't know what you've decided to do with the rest of your lives. For many of us, the future remains uncertain. Some of you have an idea of what you want the rest of your life to look like, and others are still deciding. None of us knows what the future will hold or what everything will look like in the end. But God knows the end result. He has planned our lives from the beginning, down to the minutest detail. If we seek Him first and obey Him, He will make our path secure. Long ago, there was a group of men who did just that, committed everything they did to the Lord. These men gave everything down to God, everything up to God, down to what they ate, asking their boss to allow them to eat simple food so they might glorify God in that way. Their choice to glorify God with what they ate led to better health and vigor, which led to promotions. Eventually, they were made into chief officials of a great kingdom because they obeyed God in everything, committing their whole lives and every decision to Him. And God blessed them for their obedience, carrying them unharmed through a fiery furnace. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego remained in high positions, glorifying God with their actions. And y'all, it all started with the decision to give everything over to God and eat vegetables. God established them. He blessed them. Now, I'm an idealist, so I fully expect to change the world in some way. That doesn't necessarily mean I'll be the next C.S. Lewis or Marie Curie, but I will change lives to the glory of God just by my existence. Otherwise, there'd be no point to me being alive. But that doesn't mean it'll be easy. It certainly wasn't easy for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. In fact, some people might even call it impossible. So I'd like to challenge you. Do hard things. Don't settle for mediocrity in this life. When it comes down to things, we are extremely blessed. We don't have a whole lot we need to worry about. Compared to our great-grandparents who fought in wars and provided for their families with difficult jobs, we are very blessed. Instead, we scroll through Instagram and are easily distracted by the latest trends. We haven't been called to fight in wars, etc., and as a result, our generation isn't known for doing things that are difficult. Some people might even worry that the future is grim. But class of 2023, we are the future. We can make the choice to do difficult things and show the world that we mean business. We will not settle for mediocrity or merely what's acceptable. Instead, we will work, we will pray, we will do, we will go on and become what is impossible. This will take hard work, discipline, and a lot of help from the Lord. But it will be worth it in the end. He will bless us for it. I've seen this in my own life. During my freshman and sophomore years of high school, I was part of an amazing homeschool co-op that I loved with a passion. But the summer before my junior year, I strongly sensed the Lord saying it was time for me to move on. There was just one problem. I didn't want to move on. All of my friends were there. I loved what I was learning, and the alternative of doing all my school at home with a different curriculum just wasn't appealing to me. God was asking me to do something hard. In fact, it felt at the time like he was asking me to do something impossible. After a lot of wrestling, I chose to stay home instead of going with my friends to the group that I loved. Through that time, as I struggled with loneliness and motivation, God drew me closer. Because my sadness led me to seek him, he pulled me into a deeper relationship and helped me to grow in character and faith more than I would have if not forced to rely so heavily on him. He taught me that, as James 1:17 says, every good and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights. The first gift was himself and the joy that came from a deepened relationship with him. And later on, he opened up an opportunity for me to take online writing classes with an amazing group of teenage writers. He replaced my loneliness with extremely close-knit friendships through that class and its forums, which I've now been a part of for almost 2 years. Tomorrow, my family and I are taking a trip to go meet these people, many of my best friends, whom I have never met before. And y'all, none of that would have happened. I would not have received that blessing if I had not left my co-op, because the Zoom classes were scheduled for the exact same time as my homeschool group classes. That's just one example from my life of how doing hard things, impossible things, is always worth it. It brings a deeper relationship with God and blessings beyond what I can imagine. Committing each decision to God, even when it seems impossible or painful, is always worth it in the end. It shows you that his plan is always better, always and without fail. My life is a testimony to that. Let yours be too. When you go home, after you finish celebrating this amazing milestone of graduating high school, do some thinking and praying about the next milestone. What is your dream? The thing that might be hard, but will be worth it in the end. Make the plan, call the contact, prepare to work hard, dare to dream with me. Let's choose to do everything from the heart. Live on purpose, live with passion and with cheerfulness. And when things do get hard, don't give up. Again, if you commit everything to the Lord, he will make the impossible things possible. Trust him, believe in him, rely on his plan for your life and his love for you, and then be the person he has made you to be, and love the people he has sent you to love, and radiate the light he has created you to emit. Don't let the world tell you it is impossible, because with God, all things are possible. I'll close with this. My very favorite quote about growing up is from my very favorite book, Anne of Green Gables. One day when Marilla, Anne's adoptive guardian, is feeling sad over her growing up, as I guarantee you all of our parents are feeling right now, Anne tells her, "I'm not a bit changed, not really. I'm only just pruned down and branched out. The real me back here is just the same. It won't make a bit of difference where I go or how much I change outwardly. At heart, I shall always be your little Anne, who will love you more and better every day of her life. This quote means more to me every single time I read it because it holds such a beautiful challenge. Class of 2023, remember who you are. Children of the Most High God, destined to do impossible things and change the world. No matter how much pruning or branching happens in the next years, cling to Christ. Only in Him will you find your identity, and only in Him will your plans be firmly established. Trust His impossible plan for your life. Class of 2023, let's be the impossible generation for God, together. Thank you.
Our second performance will be Tatum Marie Smith, daughter of Ryan and Katie Smith of Chapin. Tatum actively serves on the worship team and social media team at her church, which happens to be this church. She was awarded the Chick-fil-A Leadership Scholarship, and in the fall, Tatum plans to attend Midlands Technical College with a major in digital marketing. Tatum will be singing Goodness of God by C.C. Winans. Please join me in welcoming Tatum Smith.
No, your mercy never fails me, and all my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. Darkest nights, you are close like no other. I've known you as a father, I've known you as a friend, and I have lived in the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. So good.
Our final student speaker today is Anna Elizabeth Johnson. Anna is the daughter of Paul and Brenda Johnson of Columbia. Throughout high school, Anna has played in the South Carolina Philharmonic Youth Orchestra and is currently the principal second violinist. She is active in ballet and contemporary dance, the Institute for Cultural Communicators, and community service projects through HEART, a youth service organization. Anna is a SCAIHS honor graduate, a member of the Eta Sigma Alpha National Homeschool Honor Society, and a Palmetto Fellow Scholar. In the fall, she plans to attend Clemson University with a major in architecture. Let's welcome Anna Johnson.
Never be afraid to trust an unknown future to a known God. Corey Ten Boom. Hi, I'm Anna Johnson, and I've been homeschooled for 11 years. What a journey it has been. While it's happening, high school seems long, but now that it's over, it seems like it's flown by. Whatever style of homeschooling or co-op you participated in, you worked hard to get here. As homeschoolers, I can say with certainty that whatever path we each traveled throughout the past 18 or so years, we have all had a unique experience to that of the typical American high schooler and to one another. No matter how or when your homeschooling journey began, I am confident that homeschooling has benefited you all just as much as it has me. 3 of the major benefits of homeschooling are that it has allowed us to broaden our interests, grow in independence, and cultivate our own worldviews. Firstly, homeschooling has helped us broaden our interests. Whether it was focusing more time on the subjects that we enjoy or excel at, or devoting more time to a sport or hobby, homeschooling provided us with the flexibility to grow our skills and explore those interests. Unlike the traditional school schedule, we had the opportunity to explore and cultivate our skills without having to sit at a desk for hours every day. We can literally take our schoolwork beyond the classroom into different environments that allow us to learn the way that fits us best. While I also spent a lot of time at my desk, I personally loved to do homework outside when the weather allowed, which is something I could not have done if I was always at a desk. It has also allowed me to pursue music with the flexibility to take breaks to practice violin throughout the day. Looking back at your homeschool journey, whether you feel like homeschooling was the right fit for you or not, know that God has a purpose for you in this world, and you are prepared for what's next, even if it doesn't feel like it now. We've made it, and we are well prepared to handle future challenges. Additionally, as homeschoolers, we are taught to be independent from the start. While we had teachers, parents, and mentors, we often end up doing a lot of our work on our own at home or as part of a class that meets once or twice a week. Regardless of how you have been home educated, your homeschooling has fostered independence. We may not have had the luxury of having a teacher every minute of the school day, but we received something better: freedom to explore and adapt. We cannot predict what we will face in the future, but our freedom in school has truly prepared us for what is to come. We learned to teach ourselves and figured out what methods of learning work best for us. I know that having less time in a classroom helped me with time management. For example, if an opportunity to do something came up in the morning, because I was homeschooled, I could do school later in the day or the evening to fit everything in my schedule. Being able to learn independently has also helped me in my dual enrollment classes this year to adjust to my college class schedule and even help other students in my classes. I believe that my 11 years of homeschooling prepared me well for college, and I hope it is the same for you. Finally, as homeschoolers, we have been given the opportunity to cultivate our own worldviews by expressing ourselves and exploring our own ideas. This has allowed for a diversity in learning that has prompted us to question the typical beliefs of our society. I'm not saying that we always disagree, but homeschooling has equipped us with the tools to think about an issue logically, carefully, and individually. Often, I notice that because of this, homeschoolers are more likely to ask questions rather than immediately accepting something as truth. Also, our diverse education has taught us to think outside the box. Homeschooling has given us these opportunities to grow and learn, to not just be one of the crowd. We have the intelligence to form our own worldviews and change lives. Because of this, we can think critically and face the challenges that the world throws at us with confidence. Our education has prepared us for whatever is coming after high school, whether it be college or trade school, going out in the mission field, getting a job, or something else. Whatever is next, I hope you feel homeschooling has equipped you the way I feel it has equipped me for this next chapter. I would like to thank all the people who have helped our graduating class get to where we are today. Thank you, parents, teachers, coaches, mentors, leaders, and friends. None of us would be here today without you. You have inspired us to stand up for what we believe, to learn effectively, to think critically, and live passionately. I am so grateful I've gotten this opportunity to be homeschooled. I know all of you have many people who have helped you get to this point, and I encourage you to thank them too. Graduates, I challenge you to move on to the next chapter with confidence. Use the knowledge and experiences you have gained in high school to stand out in whatever you do, and show the world that a homeschooler can excel in whatever they do. While it may feel like it now, this is not the end. It is only the beginning of a new and exciting part of life. Work hard in whatever you do and pursue Christ even harder. Seek His will for your life. As we part ways, I want to encourage you with this verse. Those who stand firm during testing are blessed. They are tried and true. They will receive the life God has promised to those who love Him as their reward. James 1:12. Life is full of hardships, and we all face them. But if you face those hardships with God by your side and trust in His plan, you can look ahead with anticipation of the joy to come. Congratulations, I am so excited for all of us to move on to this new and exciting journey of adulthood. Thank you.
Thanks so much to our student speakers, and the music was incredible, y'all. We'll now prepare to award our 2023 graduates with their diplomas. Graduates, please stand, and the junior marshals will lead you out of the sanctuary at this time. Parents, we're honored that you have invited SCAIHS to be a part of your homeschool journey. We recognize that it is you, the parents, who've led this educational process, so we want you to play a role today in the graduation. Notice that on the back cover of your program, the graduates are set up in groups, A through H. When we ask for your graduates group to come to the front, the parents of those students should proceed to the left side of the sanctuary. A SCAIHS staff member will be present to direct you to a place to sit temporarily. Then, as your graduate is called, you'll come to the front to stand in front of the curtain to the left. As your graduate comes down the steps, you can offer hugs, handshakes, high fives, or whatever. Our photographer will take a quick picture of you there with your graduate. Then you will exit the sanctuary through the door and proceed down the hall and re-enter the sanctuary at the back when instructed to return to your seats. Again, a staff member will be there to direct you. Once your group is completed, parents and graduates of that group will return to your seats while the next group of parents is directed to the side. There will be an opportunity for families to have pictures made with the graduates in the lobby after the ceremony. Looking at the list on the back cover of your program, at this time, the parents of the graduates in Group A can make their way down to the left side of the sanctuary where Mrs. Taylor will direct you to a seat.
Cicely Elizabeth Anderton. Clementine Grace Anderton. Jacob Stephen Barenzi. Luke Christian Bear. Tommy Peyton Barron. Ella Rose Becker. Samuel Chandler Bonnet.
Riley Joe Braden. The parents in Group A and the students in Group A will make their way back to their seats, while the parents and graduates in Group B can now make your way over to the side. Kirsten Bria Brock. Nathaniel Gyo Chung. Philip Alexander Copeland. Amy Elizabeth Crumley. Josiah Michael Deason. Courtney Hope Dively. Nathaniel Eldon Douglas. Mary Elizabeth Aaronclough. Parents and students in Group B can begin making their way back to their seat. And then Group C can move to the right. Evan Ryan Eubanks. Muriel Monet Finley. Isaac Walter Fox. Jordan Mitchell Gainey. Avi Rebecca Higgins. Cole Harris Hunt. Emma Nuala Ann Yusko. Jaden Deshawn Jackson. Peter B. Jackson III. Students and parents from Group C can start returning to your seats. And the parents of Group D can begin making their way to the left. Madison Carly Jacobs. Anna Elizabeth Johnson. Emma Grace Martin. Kate Caroline Martin. Kimberly Morgan Masters. Enid Elizabeth McDonald. Elijah Amos Miller. Carly Elizabeth Morrison. Parents and students from Group D can begin making their way back to their seat, while Group E moves to the left. Bogumila Faith Chamaka Nutibusi. Boguslava Hope Chinwindu Njibusi. Sydney Elise Newton. Emily Page Nutter. Michaela Elise Amaya Osborne. Meredith Grace Patterson. Mandolin Rose Pearson. Cooper Joseph Rains. Rachel Wyman Risch. Parents and students from Group E can begin moving back to your seats, and Group F will be moving to the left. Courtney Janine Ross. Emily Marie Ross. Albert Jerry Sanders III. Emma Louise Sharpenberg. Ellie Catherine Schrupp. Joshua Graydon Slaughter. Alexa Catherine Seaman Huynh. Barbara Jane Schumpert. Parents and graduates from Group F can begin returning to your seats, and Group G will begin moving to the left. Emily Lahana Sierra. Marquis Anthony Simmons, Jr. Alicia Ann Slaughter. Catherine Lou Hart Smith. Tatum Marie Smith. Tylee May Spiller. Hallie Ann Tardy. Caroline Blair Taylor. Parents and students from Group G can begin returning to your seats, and Group H will be making their way to the left. Anna Claire Timmons. Luis Joshua Gabriel Vega. Miana Dolores Whidden. Gardner Preston Wilson. Macy Lauren Wilson. Claire Chaylin Wood. Anna Catherine Zimmerman. As the parents of Group H return to your seats, I wanted to let you know that we are very thankful for all of you that were able to participate in our ceremony today, but we have additional graduates that are celebrating through live stream. And while the graduates are making their ways back to their seat, we would like you to recognize the graduates who are not in attendance for their achievements as well. So I will be reading those names a little more quickly, but we can applaud them at the end. Matthew Henry Ambos, Alexis Kayla Ashelman, Levi Ross Bates, Sarah Elizabeth Bedingfield, Camden Derek Brower, Wallace Lee Clifton, Aiden Isaac Costanzo, Elijah Michael Crane, Samuel Brady Daniel, Christina Marie Dominguez, Jabari Novell Easter, Kaylin Marie Fuller, Leah Elizabeth Gorash, George Joseph Guthinger, Lori Rebecca Hall, Connor Ashton Henderson, Joseph Walter Henderson II, Caitlin Nicole Heron, Bridget Eileen Hill, Ava Gwendolyn Heineman, Wells Skipper Hucks, Rose Marie Huff, David Alexander Jackson, Tiara R. Rose, Greg Matthew Kaiser Jr., Carson Miranda Kiefer, William Tyler Kennedy, Michael Josiah King, Shaheim Guatrell Hopkins McCoy, Zachary McKnight, Lauren Perry Merriweather, Emma Ann Moody, Joseph Nicholas Moore, Samantha Claire Osborne, Maria Tyler Pock, Margaret Bailey Riddle, Rachel Wyman Risch, Sullivan Christopher Rogers, Samantha Ann Rose, Amanda Ann Sackett, Hallie Nicole Centurion, Sydney Alexis Severance, Austin Gerald Siddons, Addison Elizabeth Smith, Lene Catherine Socks, Ethan Richard Speece, Caitlin Lee Spires, Gabrielle Marie Statz, Stephen Dean Strange II, Sarah Grace Taylor, Eliav Tonek, Reshma Amaraya Elaine Teagan, Gabriel Bennett Temples, Holden Daniel Watts, Daniel Blake Weinecker, Riley Nicholas White, Kenneth James Whitesize, Amelia Corin Wilhelm, Caleb Woodrow Williamson.
And this is a bit counterintuitive, but I did not introduce myself earlier. My name is Paola Correa, and I, along with Rebecca Pope, co-direct the high school. Thus, as co-director of the high school, will the SCAIHS class of 2023 please stand? Mr. Tyler, these students have met the SCAIHS requirements for graduation.
Graduates, would you turn and face the audience? By the authority given to the South Carolina Association of Independent Home Schools by the General Assembly of the State of South Carolina, SCAIHS bestows upon you these diplomas. You may now move your tassels to the left. Ladies and gentlemen, I now present to you the SCAIHS class of 2023.
Would y'all join me in a closing prayer? Lord, in a world that can be so very discouraging today, we're so encouraged by this group of young men and young women that you have raised up. Lord, we just thank you for the opportunity to have a hand in their education, to grow them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. Lord, we pray that you would bless and keep them as they go out, that your face would shine upon them, that you would grant them peace, that you would guide and direct their steps, and that you would use each one of them for your glory and your honor. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. And guests and all those attending virtually, we thank you for being a part of our ceremony today. Go and find your graduate, enjoy the day, celebrate what's been accomplished. There's a photographer set up in the lobby if you'd like to have family pictures with your graduate. God bless you and keep you. Thank you for being here.